Welcome back to Lovin Dubai show. Today's guest is Badria Faisal, who is making a huge impact in women's sports in the UAE. She is the founder of Banat FC, the first women's only football club in the country. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here and being honestly I love the fact that there's a football club for women. So my first question is, what inspired you to launch Banat FC on Emirati's Women's Day?
Well, I've been working in men's football my whole life. And I was always, my goal in my life or in my career was elevating the representation of Arab sports and Arab football. So I always wanted to show the best of what we had, because there was always a misconception of, there's just a lot of money here, players are spoiled, there's no appreciation, but it was nothing like that, which I knew because I've worked with the league, a club, with players themselves. So I took it very personally and decided to do something for the industry on different levels. So whether with brands, telling stories that actually reflected Arab football or UAE football, and more personal stories. So I was always focused on the men's side of things. And then after shooting a campaign that I did in Egypt, which was one of my favorites, on my way back, I saw something on social media from a club in Saudi that really just made my blood boil a little bit, because it wasn't the content itself. It was just the formatting was off. It was not done with best practices in mind at all. Just very basic social media posts for clubs that have tons of money and international superstars, which felt wrong. It felt like if you have all that money to put into your club, the least you can do is hire one person that knows what they're doing and reflect that and represent it to the rest of the world. Because if they're only seeing this, then you're just making us all look bad. So at that point, I decided to start my own club. Instead of servicing clubs and consulting and trying to improve the industry with different partners, I decided to do my own thing, and I'll create that benchmark myself. And initially, it was a bit of a wild idea. I wanted to start a fake football club online, something that didn't exist, but recruit friends from the community, influencers, and make them footballers, create an actual kit, get sponsors, show them what I could do with a fake football club, which is better than what they had with a real one, and actually do something, turn it into a community project. And then a couple days after I saw, then a couple of days after, I logged online from my office and saw the women's league here. And I looked up all the women's clubs, and none of them had an Arabic name. So I felt like there was a lack of representation, because all the men's clubs here in the Pro League, they're all Al-Nasr, Al-Wasl, they're all Arabic names. And that's when I decided, why waste my efforts on a fake club instead of actually helping a sector that I've honestly not given enough attention to at all.
Can we go back in time and just learn where your passion for football came from? When did you start playing? And also, I guess, being a woman growing up here, were there women's clubs when you were playing, when you were coming up the scene?
I've never played.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I've never played football. A lot of people think I did, but no, I was always I started as a football fan. So I lived in Italy in 2004. I was doing my master's there. And while I was there, I went to a stadium tour of San Siro. And there happened to be a game, so my friends from the language school and we just went and bought tickets for a not very exciting game apparently in the league. But when we sat to watch, I just fell in love with this one player's style of play, and I was like, what is he doing? And back then, there weren't any big screens. There wasn't any commentary that you could hear. So I'm like, who is this number 7? He's so good. And then I took myself to an internet cafe, because that's where you Googled things back then. And I found out that was Andrei Shevchenko. And I think everybody knows the story of my line is Andrei Shevchenko changed my life, because that was a moment that I was really hooked on football and became a hardcore fan of AC Milan. Going to all their games, it became my life. And from there, becoming a fan, I did not think for a second that would lead to a career. because I came back and I had done my master's with Lamborghini actually, so I studied car design. I know that's also a little bit unexpected, but also not something I was expecting to work in. But I did learn from that I wanted to work in sports. And from working at Formula One to then having an opportunity at the Sports Council, I decided football was where I wanted to go.
Well, recently we celebrated Emirati Women's Day.
Yeah.
And in honor of Emirati Women's Day, how does the Banat Football Club, I would say, honor Emirati culture and value?
Well, one thing that's quite unique about us is that our club is built on Emirati values and respecting the tradition. So we are the first or only modest club in the UAE where the girls have to wear tights under their shorts out of respect to make everyone around feel not just comfortable, not just the girls that are on the pitch, but the parents who've always fought the idea of their daughters playing football because one of the reasons of it being an immodest sport. So how do we resolve this? How do we just work on the issues that the parents have with the sport and show them kind of a safe, nurturing, culturally inclusive environment where I feel like our club represents Dubai very well and that it has all the nationalities that we do see in Dubai, and I love that. And so modesty, respect, and the cultural inclusivity is very Emirati.
Love that.
Were there any, I guess, challenges along the way?
Many.
I'll stop there.
Many. I mean, this is a sport that's women's football here has existed here since 2005, which people don't know. A lot of people think Banat FC is the first club in the UAE, which is completely false. We have an incredible club here that's currently actually playing in the Women's Champions League. So we have the first Asian Women's Champions League just happened now. It's now the preliminary stage is on. And a club that we're all very proud of, Abu Dhabi Country Club. They just won their first 2 games, and inshallah they will win the next one and actually qualify. But that club is the club that really built the legacy in this country for those who know about women's football. So for other players mainly. But the issue was, and not just not for that from that club specifically, but the sport in general didn't have any representation. There was no attention. There was no media. And since that is my background, marketing, media, image building, of course I know how to do that, but many others, or most people I've worked with, or clubs, federations, whoever, didn't understand the importance of media, social media, photography, being out there. Because if you're not out there, who's going to know you? Who's going to look up to you? How are you going to be a role model? Right. So that was a challenge in the beginning, getting people to understand what we were mocked a lot actually in the beginning. We were seen as by clubs only, so I know a lot of it was envy, so I'll take it. But we were seen as the club that's just about social media. Oh, it's just this club that just cares about the image. Well, right. If we are, then how come we won 10 out of our first 11 games?
Amazing.
So we can do both, and that's what we're here to do. And we're very much performance focused, but the girls need to be performance focused. I need to work on developing this club and getting as much attention to the club because it helps the industry as a whole. Mm-hmm. So.
I love how you gave an open space for girls who are interested in football because there's always this oh, girls can't play football and so on. So when are you open for open trials, and as well how can potential participants come to you?
So for the first team, we're very specific, obviously, about who joins the team, and we do very specific trials for them because most of our players are actually national team players from different countries, but very experienced players. But now, to cater to the demand that we've received through our email, so the day we launched, I put a small form on the website. If you're interested, join us and tell us your story. And I got almost 500 applicants from the UAE alone, and I was shocked. Every month or every day when I get something and I read their story, I'm like, I didn't know there were that many girls that played or wanted to play. And And I felt so guilty that I never gave the women here the attention they deserved. And I felt like I had a much bigger opportunity to make a difference and kind of change their lives to the better a little bit if I helped them, gave them an opportunity to play. And that's why we just launched the Academy. So the Academy, which we also launched on Emirati Women's Day, being one of the first days that we had our tryouts. And now we're doing for under 12 to under 18, so girls as young as 10 years old to 18 will be wearing that Banat FC kit, getting professional training and playing in the leagues here and making their way up to the first team. So that's what we wanted to do, is to create a pathway from 10 to playing in the first team and representing a national team. And so now our trials are on Saturday and Sunday, and you just have to sign up on our website.
Amazing. It feels like it's the time for women's football internationally as well.
Absolutely.
You mentioned that you've got some national players on the team. Can you tell us a little bit about what the competitive scene is like here in the UAE? For those of us who just really would like I don't know, and I'd love to know how competitive, how good are we? Are we playing on an international level?
So if we're talking about club football, so club football is still something that's growing, which is part of why we exist. It's mainly right now academies with a senior team, and then they'll enter that senior team into the women's league. So we had 10 teams last year, but only 3 or 4 of us were clubs, not academies. So the difference is in academies, girls pay to play, like what we're going to do now with Banat FC, to develop them and get them to the level of a first team. So currently, because we don't have enough clubs, it is still a great way for the girls to get the best kind of competition out there, is to play in the league, of course, whether first or second division. But now things are changing, that we are getting more clubs also, not just since Banat FC, but there's other things popping up in Abu Dhabi, which really is the home of football here. So Abu Dhabi is where it all started and where it all grew. And I see it maybe taking a couple of years for football to potentially, not necessarily go pro, but for the men's team. So the pro teams here, so when you say Al Wasl Club, Shabab Al Ahli, Al Nasser in Dubai, I think it'll take 1 to 2 years for them to have women's teams. To be able to play in Asia or the Champions League, in many other continents. So in Africa now, if you don't have a women's team, even if you're the winner of the African Champions League, you cannot play. So they're forcing all the clubs to start that, that part of the development for women. So I think that's going to happen very soon, and that's going to change everything here.
Well, Banat FC, why did you choose an Arabic name?
Because
what is the meaning behind it?
No one else had an Arabic name. That was the reason I decided to start a women's club instead of my fake club. And Banat means girls.
Yeah.
It's the simplest name that I could come up with. And when I told my husband about it, he said, you know what, that's the first name that came to my mind too. Like, it's such a simple name, which I was advised against by some people in the industry. He said, don't do it. No one's going to take you seriously. You need like a heavy name. I'm like, okay, just leave the marketing to me. You do the rest. And it's worked so well because I wanted a name that would connect with any Arab girl. Anyone would understand it, and not just in the region. Anyone abroad would know Banat FC and immediately understand what it means, So, and we're here to educate. So the first line on our website is Banat is the Arabic word for girls. A lot of people living here don't speak Arabic. Did you know that Banat meant girls?
I learned recently in the last 24 hours.
But see, that's a good thing. So now you know the word that matters.
Yes, exactly. Jamila Banat.
Oh, I love that.
I want to ask, you mentioned that you're a modest club. I wonder, do you have any, or what advice, for example, would you give to people who are nervous about starting football for the first time? Maybe their moms haven't played it, but maybe they're keen. Have you had people reach out to you who just would like advice on the sport?
Yeah, I have. And especially now with the academy, we have some girls writing saying, they really want to play, but her father won't let her be photographed. And obviously we have to cater to all of that in the academy, not on the first team. On the first team, everyone has to have public social media accounts. Like, you're here to be role models and to change the game. So it's not about you, it's about showing everyone else what they can be. But for the academy, we have to respect these cultural boundaries and how families perceive things, because it's still very new. So we've been talking to families, we've been talking to parents, we've been reassuring them. We have girls that you can't photograph this one. All right, so everybody knows, everyone on the staff, do not photograph this girl at all. And as long as they're just having, and something else. No, maybe I'll announce this one later. No, we'll do this one later. But we want to give everyone a chance to play football. So not just the professional players like the first team or the academy girls, 10 to 18. But there are a lot of older girls that wrote in their stories. I'm talking girls in their 30s, late 30s, saying it was always their dream to play, and they've never even seen a possibility. They've never seen a place or a club that was out there for them to say, oh, you could actually play. And they talk about how sad it is that they missed out. And I want to try and give these girls as well, these women, a chance to play in a different kind of setting. But yeah.
Well, what can participants expect at your upcoming open trials?
At the Academy Trials, which is in Ripe Market, it's a great venue, which we've signed on with for the year. We're playing on an 11-a-side pitch. We have our first team coach who's actually coaching the under 18s and 16s together at the start before we split them up into levels. We have a great welcome kit for all the girls, of course, since we also just signed with Nike, which is huge for us.
Wow.
Yeah, this is massive. This is the first women's only team for Nike in the region. So
that's amazing.
Yeah,
congratulations to you.
Thank you very much.
That's really great.
Thank you. It's huge. And we have events coming up. We're doing our jersey reveals, and the Academy girls are going to get to wear the same Nike jerseys, and they're going to get to flex when they go out, after training with their parents. And I can't wait to see that. My favorite thing is seeing girls with their parents after academy trainings in all their academy kits. And I can't wait to see Banat FC kits on everyone.
Oh, we can't wait either.
So much. To the naysayers and the other clubs who said, why are you doing the social media? They have their answer.
There you go.
There you go. That is Badreya Faisal, the founder of Banat FC. Congratulations to you and the team. We cannot wait to hear more of the stories and follow it. That brings us to the end of the show on this Friday morning. Thank you, Farah.
Thank you, Casey.
Have a fabulous weekend. We'll be back here with you on Monday morning, same time, same place. Bye-bye.